Backing tracks have become such a massive part of our live shows now, and I'm sure just like me, you guys have witnessed several shows where backing tracks that are being played on a computer just simply fail. Well, luckily, computers are not the only way for us to have backing tracks during our live shows. A few years ago, I reviewed a piece of equipment that was a backing track media player. It would play all your individual tracks without bringing in all the complications of a laptop. Of course, COVID happened and it seemingly killed that company, meaning that that product is no longer available or even in production. So you guys have been looking for a comparable product to that old product, and today I am happy to introduce you guys to the Idoru P-1. This is a backing track media player that does stuff even better than the old did. So I say, out with the old and in with the new. Let's get into it. Having backing tracks allows you to play your music alongside full symphonies without the need of having every musician that comes with a full symphony. If you have synths in your music, no problem. Backing tracks have you covered. Or if you're playing a ripping guitar solo but you don't have a second guitarist to play the rhythm parts, backing tracks can help out with that as well. The point I'm trying to make is that backing tracks will play the parts of your songs that you are unable to play because you're already playing your own parts while performing, allowing you to put your whole composition on display for your audience to hear and enjoy. And the Idoru P-1 makes all of this possible without the worry of any kind of random system updates or your DAW just completely crashing and shutting down on you in the middle of your set. The Idoru P-1 has a lot of great features built into it, but I think one of my favorites is having the 6 separate outputs on the back of the unit, allowing you to assign individual tracks to each of the 6 outputs. You can have your synths assigned to output 1, your piano to output 2, and anything else that you need in your song to the other 4 outputs, and they will play just like you have them arranged in your song. If you need any kind of stereo outputs, you can do that as well on the P-1. So if you're like me, I have stereo backing tracks, so that is a left and a right for the stereo image. You will take 2 of your outputs, so let's say 1 and 2, and you will combine those outputs either in the box or in the software that you can get for the P-1, then assign your stereo backing track to those outputs, and they will come out as a stereo signal left and right. For those of you that are interested in running MIDI patches out to either an amplifier or any other kind of gear, you're in luck. The Idoru P-1 does support MIDI out and also MIDI in to the P-1 itself, which is really nice. Having MIDI is such an important feature nowadays, especially when everything is ran by Kempers and Axe-FXs and Quad Cortex. MIDI patches are super killer to have. Anyways, I want to go ahead and download the P-1 software off their website, and I want to show you guys how to put your tracks into the software and export it out to the P-1. So let's go ahead and build a backing track. Alright, as soon as you have the P-1 software downloaded off of Idoru's site, plug in your Idoru P-1 via USB into your computer, and also make sure that you have your SD card for your P-1 in the unit. And then this is the screen that you're going to see when you have the P-1 software already loaded up, and it's looking like this because we absolutely have nothing on our P-1. There's no set lists, there is no songs, so there is no sessions to load in for us, and there's no importing from the P-1. So basically, we're going to want to hit create new session, and it's going to go ahead and leave us on this blank page right here because we have absolutely no set lists and no songs going for us. On the bottom, it'll say P-1 is connected, so if it's not connected, it'll definitely let you know. There is send session to P-1 and import from P-1, but we don't have anything yet, so let's go ahead and create a set list. So we'll click create a set list. It'll have our unnamed set list right here. It'll have create song right below it. So let's go ahead and just name our set list. Let's do PTH set list 1. And then in our set lists, we'll have like groups of songs. You'll have your whole set list under that. So you can have several set lists with different songs in them, which is really nice. So you can kind of quick swap in between them. But let's go ahead and let's create a song. So let's hit this, and we have our unnamed song. So we'll go ahead and do this. It's going to be the Hagraven. Perfect. And if you hover your cursor over the song, you'll notice these 2 emblems right here. There is the X that is delete, and we obviously don't want to do that, but there is a mixer icon as well, and let's go ahead and click that. and it's going to go ahead and take us into the actual song. So right here, we're going to have all of the different outputs right here. You have outputs 1 through 6, you have your auxiliary, and on the top left, you're going to have your setlist name, you're going to have your song name. There is the BPM. You can set the BPM for the song. You can actually tell it what to do next after the song is done playing. So you can cue the next one, you can play the next, or you can loop it. And then there is your MIDI file. So any MIDI files that you guys have, this is where you would upload those for the song. So right now our song has absolutely nothing in it. So we need to bring in a WAV file, and the Idoru P-1 only reads WAV files. So make sure it is a WAV file, not an MP3. So you'll choose whatever output that you want to bring it into. You can have up to 6 different WAV files brought in, and then we'll go ahead and click the first output. Let's just keep it simple, start at 1, and also make sure that your sample rate and your bit rate on your export for your WAV file is at 16 bits and 44.1 kilohertz. Anything else, the P1 will not accept it. So let's go ahead and add a WAV file here. In my backing tracks, yes, I have the Hag Raven right here. Perfect. So this is going to be my WAV file that I send out to front of house, and it's already in there. So let's go ahead and hit done. Perfect. It's all loaded in. It'll show that it's loaded in because it'll turn completely pink. You can adjust the level on it, and actually you can do all of this stuff even in your Idoru P1. You can change the levels, you can do the mixer levels and everything. You'll have this whole outlay kind of show up on the screen there, which is really cool. So a lot of the stuff that you can do in the software, you can do in your P1 unit. So with my backing tracks, I know I mentioned before, my backing tracks are usually a stereo file that is sent out to front of house to get left and right and kind of get that nice stereo width in there. So right now my waveform is only in one output, and when it is in one output as a stereo file, it's going to automatically just convert it to mono, and that is not going to sound very good at all. You're just not going to get that width in there. So we need to make a stereo output, a left and a right. And in order to do that, up on the top in between the different outputs, you'll see this little 2-ring linking icon right here. You'll go ahead and click that, and that will link both output 2 and output 1, and you can do that for 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 as well. And once you link both outputs 1 and 2 together, then their levels will work in conjunction with each other. Anything that you do to output 1 will also happen to output 2, and you can do this for outputs 3 and 4 and also outputs 5 and 6, and that will create your stereo, your left and your right. So instead of just going out of output 1 to front of house, I'm going to be going out output 1 and 2, the left and right, to front of house to give them the stereo track. And then most cases, I will also have a stereo output of 3 and 4 to go to a mixer where my drummer is, and that is going to have his click track. It's going to have a metronome in his ear for him, along with the song for him to kind of follow along and everything, just to make sure that we keep on time with these backing tracks. Having a metronome to your drummer is incredibly important to stay on time with any kind of backing tracks. But I do not have the click track available for this song right now, so I'm not going to be uploading that. So right now we just have our output 1 and 2 going to front of house. And then whenever you are finished making your backing tracks, you will come down here to send session to P1, and it's already hooked in via USB. So you'll choose where your Idoru P1 is, and it's going to be USB drive H for me. I'll go ahead and just send the session, and it will start sending the files on over. All right, the file transfer is complete. The song is on my Idoru P1, and it is ready to play backing tracks. And you can repeat this process for whatever songs that you need to add backing tracks onto, and that is how you add your backing tracks to your Idoru P1. Okay, so now that the backing track is on the Idoru P1, I want to go ahead and show you guys a little bit on how to motivate around the P1, and it is extremely user-friendly and easy to get a hang of, so that is something that I very much appreciate. On the front of your Idoru P1, you're going to have these 2 different encoders right here, and you can twist them, you can push them in to do different things. So if I push in on this one, it's going to bring you to kind of a settings list for the set list that we have all right here. We have the edit song, there is browse set lists, and also settings as well. And then if you want to go back to the main screen where we were, there's this button right here underneath the 2 encoders that you can just push and it'll bring you back to the main screen. And then if I hit the other encoder over here, it'll bring us to a mixer window, and that is the exact same mixer that we had up in the software for the P1 software. And that's something that's really cool, that we can also mix down the different levels on each of the outputs in the box on the P1. And then I'll go ahead and just hit this button to bring us back, and it'll bring us back to the main menu, and we have our song that we were working on the P1 software already loaded up right here. It is on the main screen. So you have these 3 buttons right here. There is 2 arrows, and then there is the play button, and obviously the play button will play the song. So if I hit that, it'll start the song, and you can see it starting to count down. If you want to pause your song, all you have to do is hit it again, and it'll turn red. If you want to start over and refresh the song, then you just have to push in the play button and hold it until that red light goes away, and then it'll start it back over and put it in the queue for the play. And then these 2 arrow keys right here, these will allow you to shuffle in between the different songs in your set list. It's pretty self-explanatory. The 3 icons on these main buttons, the play buttons and the shuffle buttons for your songs, are the exact same icons that you're gonna see down here on these stomp switches. So if you couldn't already tell, the Idoru P-1 is also a stomp box. So just like a guitar pedal, you can put it down on the stage, and if you're a guitarist that wants to be able to control the backing tracks, you can put it on the stage and you can use these stomp switches, and they do the exact same thing that these 3 buttons do up here. For me, I'm probably not going to use the stomp switches because usually I have my backing track player in the back with my drummer. It's on a small little table next to him, next to his mixer that he can control his click tracks and everything. And he usually just kind of starts the songs, stops the songs, does all that good stuff. It's just right there in front of him. But it is really nice to have that option to use it anywhere while you're on stage. So yeah, the Idoru P-1 is extremely user-friendly, as you guys can see, and I just kind of grazed the surface of it, and I will have the manual link in the description for you guys if you want to kind of dive deeper into the different settings and all that stuff. You can also assign stereo tracks between the different outputs if you'd like on the P1. You can do all kinds of stuff on this thing. The P1 is pretty awesome. So what do I really think of the Idoru P-1? I'm just gonna go ahead and lay it out here for you guys. This unit right here is amazing. To me, this does everything that I want it to do for me for backing tracks. It plays the tracks, you can adjust the levels in the box or in the software. You can pretty much do everything that you can in the software on the P1 itself if you really want to. And the whole construction of this unit is top-notch to me. That is metal. This whole thing is absolutely solid, and you do not have to worry about damaging it at all. One thing that I ran into with my old backing track media player is that the outputs on the back of it, they were not fastened to the outer casing of the unit. So if I went to plug something in and I got the angle just wrong enough, it would actually push the output into the inner casing of the unit. So of course I would have to take it apart, void the factory warranty, and then reseat that output and then just go and try again on it. With the Idoru P-1, you guys can see they are fastened to the outer casing, so to me, that is a huge plus in my book. Another awesome thing about the Idoru P-1 is that instead of using a USB stick like my old backing track media player does, where it sticks out, you walk by it, you might snag it, you might break it, all that good stuff, it just takes one SD card and it sits inside the unit nice and safe from anything that us crazy musicians can do to it while at a live show. And also with the SD card, Idoru did let me know that even though in the manual it says you have to format your SD card before using it with the P1, that is no longer necessary. Just take it out of the packaging, throw it in the P1, and you're good to go. And of course there is the cherry on top that I already mentioned before, but I'm gonna go ahead and just say it again because it is such a huge feature that it has. The ability to do MIDI in and MIDI out. We live in a world, like I said, that is just filled and dominated by quad cortexes, Kempers, and Axe-FXs, and anything that needs MIDI patches to switch to the next patch. If you want to go from heavy guitar to clean guitar, that's where MIDI patches are going to be able to help you out. So having MIDI patches and the ability to go in and out with them on the Idoru P-1 is so valuable in today's day and age. There is one thing that I don't know if I would even really call it a con on the Idoru P-1, but maybe more of an upgrade that I would love to see in the future. So on the P-1, you have 6 different outputs, and sometimes that can get a little bit limiting, especially if you're like me, who's using stereo signal backing tracks. So when I do a stereo signal, I'm already using 2 of the 6 outputs. That's already a third of my outputs already used up. So in the future, I would really love to see a bigger unit of this with maybe like 12 outputs or so, just to give us more freedom on our backing tracks to do even more crazy stuff with. So Idoru, I would absolutely love to see just a bigger version of this, and I think that would be absolutely killer. Other than that, the Idoru P-1 is amazing. I'm very happy with this unit. If you guys would like to get your hands on the Idoru P-1, I will have the link for that down in the description below. Also, please let me know all your guys' thoughts down in the comments below as well. If you are enjoying my videos in any way, shape, or form, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps me out a ton here on the channel. And with that being said, my name is Chris with High Impact Audio, and I will see you guys next time.